Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. According to reports in France, Manchester United have made contact with Leicester over signing Wesley Fofana. Leicester are demanding £80 million, so we'll have to pay the exact same fee as what we paid for Harry Maguire back in the summer of 2019. Wesley Fofana is under contract with Leicester until 2025. He is a defender. He's only the age of 20, so he's still very young. He's got a lot of development in him. Leicester paid £36.5 million for him from Saint Etienne. So do you think he'd go well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line? Now I want to delve into some news on Varane. So the Varane transfer battle. According to Christian Fark, Chelsea have entered the race for Varane, so I presume they're looking to hijack our move. Reports from Spain recently said that Man United are in advanced talks with Varane, and it said his move to Manchester United is close. Real Madrid are demanding £60 million. We hope to lower Real Madrid's £60 million asking price. We are preparing a transfer bid. Varane is ready to leave Real Madrid. His contract talks with Real Madrid have stalled. He's got just over a year left on his current contract with Real Madrid. The Spanish transfer expert Eduardo Inda said earlier on this season that Varane could be on his way to Man United in the summer. But there was narratives coming out earlier on this season saying that Real Madrid are prepared to sell Varane on one condition: he must inform Real Madrid on his decision to leave. And back in 2018, we was prepared to sanction a £100 million move. But I'd certainly take Varane at Manchester United. Main explanations is because he's a world-class centre-half. He'd go very well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. And he's highly experienced, he's 27 years of age. He's endured 10 years at Real Madrid. He's won 18 major honours. He's made over 300 appearances. Real Madrid paid just €10 million for him from Lens back in 2011. So that's more news regarding Varane. Jose Mourinho has hit back at Paul Pogbas' comments. Hasn't he? He said, if I'm trying to remember what he said, he doesn't care less what he had to say about his reign as Manchester United manager. Paul Pogba recently gave an exclusive interview to Sky Sports and he criticised Jose Mourinho. He says Mourinho went against the players and he said that Solskjaer is different. We had Jose Mourinho for 2.5 years. You can say Mourinho enjoyed one good season at Man United because Jose Mourinho did win 3 trophies at the club. That was the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield. He also got second, I think that was in his first season, but the main explanations it didn't work out under Jose Mourinho is because he had bad disputes with the board, bad disputes with the top players, and in general, the board weren't backing the signings that he wanted to recommend in. But I think Paul Pogba was right to criticise Jose Mourinho. I'd like Man United to keep Paul Pogba potentially past the summer because he brings creativity to the team and we've been getting the best out of him in recent months. I think Paul Pogba's much better in an advanced role because that's where he's more effective. I'm not too keen on him in a deeper role. Paul Pogba did have a thigh injury earlier on this season and he was out with a while with that thigh injury. First part of this season he had an ankle injury and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury, so he's sustained a few injuries now at Man United. As it stands at the moment, Pogba's our most expensive signing because we paid £89 million for him and this is his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. He has had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid. PSG have been in for him. Barcelona have been in for him. And he's been linked with a return to Juventus. I said there's a good chance that Paul Pogba will go back to Juventus because he did enjoy 4 good years with them before he rejoined Manchester United. Swap deals have been high on the agenda. Now reports from Italy recently said that there could be a swap deal involving Cristiano Ronaldo and Paul Pogba. Do you think that would be a good swap deal from a Man United perspective and a Juventus perspective? And it says earlier on this season that Juventus were willing to offer us Paulo Dybala in exchange for Pogba. But earlier on this season, Juventus told Mourinho that they cannot afford Pogba, so reflecting on that, it said he won't be making a return to Juve. Solskjaer said not so long ago that Paul Pogba's future lies at Old Trafford, and he hopes he stays and signs a new contract. Pogba's current contract expires next year. Earlier on this season we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract. Mourinho, he's obviously been desperate to get his client out of the football club. A few weeks ago, Mourinho criticised Sir Alex Ferguson for forcing Pogba out of the club when he was younger. I presume all Man United fans disagreed with Mourinho criticising Ferguson, and he also came out and said he doesn't give a fuck if he doesn't take another player to Man United, as long as his clients are happy. But he did say earlier on this season he's got no intentions of destabilising his client's season, and he made an admission saying that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer. And he made the announcement back in December last year regarding Pogba, and Solskjaer was unhappy with Mourinho's announcement. Matthias Pogba, Paul Pogba's brother, he gave us an update on Paul Pogba's future earlier on this season. He actually advised us to sell him in the summer transfer window, because he said there's a good chance he'll leave on a free next year. And he did mention that he's got no intentions of extending his contract. So there you go. You already know the news on Erling Haaland from Borussia Dortmund. Recent reports have said that Manchester United are relying on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's close bond to secure the signing of Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland leaving Borussia Dortmund is very likely, following Dortmund's Champions League exit to Man City. Now, he did say not so long ago that we are worried about the Erling Haaland transfer pursuit because of Jadon Sancho. Mourinho obviously wants Erling Haaland to become the first £1 million a week player. Mourinho and Erling Haaland's father, Al Finch Haaland, have already been to England for talks with several Premier League clubs. They've also held talks with Barcelona and Real Madrid. He said earlier on this season that we declined to meet Mourinho over discussing a possible deal for Haaland. He said that Haaland to Man United was off following Mourinho's roadshow, but The Athletic did say that we are one of the clubs that can afford him. Dortmund are demanding £150 million. Earlier on this season, it said that Solskjaer kept calling Erling Haaland to persuade him to join Manchester United. Because he said earlier on this season that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was following his progress and he was keeping in touch with the player. Solskjaer did also reveal how impressed he was with Haaland's training at Molde, but he made an admission saying that Haaland struggled with bad knees at Molde. Prior to the Brighton game, in Solskjaer's press conference, he played down talks of Man United chasing Haaland. He said the player will make his own mind up. Back in December 2019, Ollie and Woodward went to Norway to meet up with Erling Haaland to negotiate a possible move to Man United. The main explanations I'd take him at Man United is because he's young, he's got a lot of development in him, plus he would assure his goals. And plus he knows Ole Gunnar Solskjaer well. Solskjaer gave him his debut at just the age of 16 at Molde. So it'd be good to see Ole reunite with the player. Yes, he has a £68 million release clause, but does it become active until next year? He's been at Dortmund over a year. Dortmund paid just £17 million for him and he's got a contract with Dortmund till 2024. There's a few strikers we've been looking at. Obviously, there's been a lot of narratives coming out regarding Harry Kane from Tottenham. Harry Kane obviously wants to leave Tottenham at the end of the season if they fail to qualify for the Champions League. And he wants to stay in the Premier League if he decides to leave Tottenham. Now, it recently said that PSG were looking to be us and City to the signing of Harry Kane. But he said Harry Kane to Man United is off following Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's bust-up with Mourinho not so long ago. We'll have to make an offer of at least 120 million to convince Tottenham to offload him. Earlier on this season, it said that Harry Kane refused to commit his future to Tottenham. Said he's delaying his transfer decision until after the Euros. But yeah, in general, there's a lot of players that we are looking at. In the summer transfer window, I'm expecting Man United to make around 3 or 4 signings. And I've already identified the areas where we need to strengthen up. We need a striker, we need a right winger, we need a defensive midfielder, and we also need a centre-half. Reports said not so long ago that Man United will spend big in the summer transfer window. But Solskjaer did mention that he wants to keep transfer dealings quiet. The summer transfer window will be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 5th transfer window as permanent Manchester United manager. I can assure Solskjaer will be Man United manager in the summer transfer window. And he'll be Man United manager next season. Because we've already made it clear that Solskjaer will not be sacked even if we fail to win the Europa League. The Europa League is our only chance of any silverware this season. Solskjaer knows how imperative it is to get his first trophy on the board as Man United manager. We haven't won a trophy since 2017, and that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. I think we've got a very good chance of winning the Europa League. We're in the semi-finals now. That's 5 semi-finals now in total under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I can assure we'll finish in the top 4 in the league this season. I'd say reflecting on that win against Tottenham in our last league game, that secures us a second place finish. I have said it in regards to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer so many times that he's not the long-term manager for Man United. But I said he does deserve at least another season because progress has been made in certain aspects. You know, a lot of Manchester United fans have been demanding Ole out. They've obviously got main explanations why they want him out. But I presume that there's still a lot of Man United fans that are Ole in and they believe that he needs more time at the club. I reckon he is the best manager since Ferguson. He should get the backing he deserves in the summer transfer window. Because obviously we've got John Murtough. He's our director of football. And it was the right decision by the club getting director of football in. And we've got Darren Fletcher. He's our technical director. And Woodward, he's standing by Solskjaer. He believes Solskjaer is the right man to lead the club forward. He did release a statement earlier on this season saying that the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. So in that aspect, Woodward is backing him. And even when we're enduring them really, really bad periods, you know, Woodward, you know, stood by him. Because our board have got a soft stance on Ole, with him being a legend of the club. And I've already said, the main explanation Solskjaer is still Man United manager is because he's a club legend. You know, disregarding being a club legend, I can almost assure he wouldn't have been here now. I do have my concerns about Solskjaer, like I've already gone through with you before. But there's also a lot of positives regarding Solskjaer. You know, I think progress has been made this season. This season is his second full season. We've enjoyed good periods under him where we have seen consistency, and in some of them good periods he's got the best out of the team. We are sitting second in the Premier League. At one point, Ole got us top of the Premier League. You know, he's got us to the Europa League semi-final. You know, got us to the FA Cup quarter-final this season. Got us to the EFL Cup semi-final. We're unbeaten in our last 23 Premier League away games. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. You know, Ole did well last season in his first full season. He guided us to 3 semi-finals, got us qualification for the Champions League and got us a third place finish. That's the second highest we've finished since Ferguson. I reckon Solskjaer has made good signings as Manchester United manager. He's spent almost £300 million so far. He hasn't got all the players that he wanted to recommend in as yet, and in that aspect the blame stems from the board. The board's been one of the biggest problems at the club for several years, reflecting now how poor our recruitment policy's been. We've also overpaid for players, and in general, the managers that we've had since Ferguson left haven't got the players they wanted to recommend in. Solskjaer's also got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he's come in, and I also like the way he has promoted the youth. We appointed Ole in December 2018 to replace Mourinho. You know, Ole knew when he'd taken over it was going to be a massive job, despite him knowing the club through thick and thin. He's been permanent Man United manager since March 2019. We give Solskjaer the job permanently a couple of years ago, reflecting how well he did as the interim manager. And he's been Man United manager now over 2 years. You know, reflecting how long he's been at the club, he has gained some managerial experience and he's learnt quite a bit on the job. A lot of United fans do reckon that he's in a position that he shouldn't be really in. We are going to offload quite a few players in the summer transfer window, so in that aspect we'll generate money and it will help us with our rebuilding process. Cavani, there's a chance that he'll leave Manchester United in the summer transfer window. But you know what? I'd like him to stay for next season, and so too would a lot of Man United fans, and I presume that Solskjaer would like him to stay for next season because he has made a fantastic impact since he's come in. Now, it recently said that we've been handed a boost in our attempt to keep hold of Edinson Cavani because the Uruguay manager has advised Edinson Cavani to stay in Europe. Prior to the game against Tottenham, Solskjaer did say he was unsure over Edinson Cavani's future. We've already held showdown talks with Edinson Cavani over his future at the club. His current contract expires at the end of the season, but there is an option to trigger his contract for a further year. Now, Footballer Insider said not so long ago that Cavani he's willing to take a pay cut to join Boca Juniors. It said he's already got a verbal agreement with them and Boca Juniors are willing to offer him a 3-year contract. Now, Marcus Rojo, who's a former Manchester United player, he had conversations with Edinson Cavani over a move to Boca Juniors, and he actually urged Edinson Cavani to quit Man United for Boca Juniors, and he's promised to take him fishing. Now, earlier on this season, Solskjaer did say that Cavani was closer to Boca Juniors than staying at Man United, and Edinson Cavani's father came out and said that Cavani's unhappy at Man United, he's not comfortable in England and he wants to leave. But in a lot of Cavani's games, he's been very consistent at Man United. His hold-up play's been good. His movement in and out of the box has been good. He's created chances and he's scored good goals. But there's been some games where he hasn't got enough service and he's looked very isolated. Got him on a free transfer last summer. He signed a 1-year contract with Man United with an option of a second year. Now, a lot of United fans are saying that we need to sell Anthony Martial in the summer. You know, Anthony Martial has been out of form for the vast majority of this season. The chances have been there for Martial, but he hasn't converted them. Solskjaer did say earlier on this season that he was backing Martial to rediscover his form, and he said he's been impressed with his work rate. Martial's out with injury, and it's very likely he's going to be out for the rest of the season. Ollie confirmed that not so long ago. Martial, I reckon, had 2 good seasons. He was good last season and he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Martial has been at the club over 5 years now. We got him in a deal worth 54 million from Monaco. Juan Mata, I think there's a good chance that we'll offload him. His current contract expires in June. We do have an option to trigger his contract for a further year. Juan Mata doesn't get in our 11. The first part of this season, he rejected an 18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. I reckon Juan Mata's had a good career at Man United. He's been at the club over 6 years. He's made over 200 appearances in all competitions and he's scored 50 goals. And we got him in a deal worth 40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. Donny van der Beek, I think we should offload him in the summer transfer window. The main explanation is because he's not getting enough opportunities at Manchester United. Most of Donny van der Beek's appearances have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league this season. There's actually been talks of a Donny van der Beek and Adrian Rabiot swap deal, hasn't there? Ronald de Boer has actually backed Donny van der Beek to become a success at Man United, and he said earlier on this season that he feels loved at the club despite his lack of game time. He said earlier on this season that Donny van der Beek wanted to quit Man United after 1 season due to his lack of game time, and he wanted to hold showdown talks with Ed Woodward over his future. ESPN said back in January that we rejected several loan offers for Van der Beek because we was reluctant to let him go. We got Van der Beek in a deal worth 40 million from Ajax last summer, and he can play in 3 different roles, so he's versatile. At one point he was out with injury. Phil Jones, I'm expecting us to offload him because he doesn't get in our 11, and Jones has always been inconsistent anyway. Jones is only the outfield player that's still here from the Ferguson era, and this is his 10th season at Manchester United. Romero, I'm also expecting us to offload him because Romero's our 3rd or 4th choice goalkeeper now. De Gea, he could leave the club. There's quite a few Man United fans that think it would be a mistake to let David De Gea go, but I don't think it would be because I reckon De Gea has now had his years at Manchester United. This is his, 10th season at the football club. I reckon De Gea's had around 8 good years out of the 10 years he's been at Man United. Because in the last couple of years he has been a liability, reflecting on the calamitous mistakes he's made. But a few years ago, he was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world. He has won everything domestically at the football club. Recent narratives said that we may loan De Gea out, and a few weeks ago it said that De Gea has made his transfer decision. He's preparing to leave Man United, and it said we're set to pay off his huge contract. It said we've set the price for De Gea, it's £50 million. He's got, 2 years left on his current contract, and he's on 375 grand a week. I said there's a very good chance De Gea will go back to Spain. I think we'll offload Delors permanently as well. He's out on loan with AC Milan at the moment. Could we even offload Axel Tuanzebe because he doesn't get in our 11? He did play recently against Granada, but the only reason he played is because Harry Maguire was suspended and Eric Bay wasn't available. But, a lot of players are going to stay at Man United in the summer transfer window, and I reckon there's quite a few players that have got long-term futures at the club. In the last 8 years, Manchester United have been playing catch-up, as you all know. I think we have made mistakes in the last 8 years. That's why we haven't been as consistent as we'd like to have been, In the last 8 years, we've sacked 3 managers. We sacked David Moyes after 10 months. The worst manager we've ever had. And we finished 7th under the David Moyes era. That's the lowest we've finished in the Premier League era. We sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup. And we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years. And we've overpaid for players in recent years. We've spent over £1 billion in the last 8 years. And we must have brought around 37 players in. I think a lot of them players we've brought in the last 8 years haven't been the right calibre players for Man United. But there again, there's been some players we've brought in who we should have kept and we let go. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013. That's 8 years ago now. But we haven't been the same team since Ferguson retired. And I said, we're never going to be the team we was under Ferguson. Ferguson endured a 26, 27 year tenure at the club. Won a total of 30 odd major honours, including 13 Premier League titles, so Ferguson brought success to the club, but didn't settle in straight away, Ferguson, because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Man United. Anyway, on my next video, I'll be giving you my predictions for our game against Burnley, which is tomorrow. So anyway guys, that's everything to update for today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.